Can everybody hear me? I'm going to use a microphone, even though I probably don't need one. But my friends want me to use one, so we have one. And I think we have a lot of speakers here tonight. So we're going to figure out the best way to get everybody up here. Anybody who wants to speak tonight, if you are running, I want to make sure you have time to talk, which is why I will speak briefly, much to the happiness of many of you. So are there new people here tonight? New people who have never been here? Okay, there are a couple people. That's awesome. So we are Rise Up Mystic, and the rest of you have heard this spiel 50 or 60 times, but I'll just say really quickly, we formed really the day after Donald Trump got elected. It was our therapy to come together, and we also decided to dig in and to do something about it. We're still here, and we're nearing the end of the third year. This has not been easy. I'm very stressed like a lot of you. And so we are coming off of a rest. The summer, people rested, did their thing, and enjoyed their summers. And this is our first meeting in quite some time. So we are going to get rolling between now and December, and then in January, we are going to take off. And so for those people who have been waiting, I'm going to ask that you spread the word. We're not waiting until November of 2020. We're starting now. We are waiting for, but we're going to get rolling now. So we're not. We have a lot to do. We got to fill this room with people who feel the same way we do. There's not a lot of folks out there that know what we're doing or that what we do matters. So we need to spread the word. We need to fill this room, and then we need to change the political landscape. And I think we can do that. So tonight's meeting is, we have a lot of folks running for local office. So tonight's meeting is a chance we're gonna not go long, and that way people will have a chance to speak, and then afterwards we'll mingle. So don't run away when the meeting's over. There'll be plenty of time. We have this place till 8:45, but we won't need that. So you'll have time to connect. So please do that. And again, if you're new, I will say that one of the things that bothered me was just sitting in a meeting and then going home and feeling good, but not having really done anything. So we try to take an action at every meeting. And tonight our action once we're done, will be to call Representative Joe Courtney and let him know that there are responsible people out there that support an impeachment inquiry. He needs to hear from us, so thank you. So we'll take that action together. It's something about taking the action together. And when Representative Courtney gets a whole bunch of emails all at once, holy cow, what's going on? It's because it's a Rise Up Mystic meeting. That's kind of cool. Okay, so a couple of upcoming events. Just, you don't have to write these down. These are going to be on our website. Tomorrow at the Velvet Mill, right, for Danielle, from 5 to 8 p.m. To help with Danielle's election. So that's one of our local biggies. But if I'm missing any too, then you can announce those when you come up to speak. Then this Saturday, there's a Mystic-wide aquarium, Ocean Ambassador Mystic-wide cleanup from 10 to 4. And there's 2 locations on Coogan Boulevard and Jerry Brown Road, and then Mystic River Park. So that's a cleanup that's happening this Saturday. So that'll be online. Saturday, October 19th, there's a walk. Laura Parker is organizing a walkathon for a Haitian immigrant family living in Norwich who really, really need help. That's October 19th. So if you go to our website or our Facebook page, we'll have more information on that. And then our next Rise Up Mystic meeting is tentatively Monday, November 18th at the Mystic Noank Library. We want to introduce, we want to expand our membership. So one way to do that is to move and make sure we're at different towns. So the next one will be at Mystic Noank, and then the following one will be on Monday, December 2nd, back here in Groton. Then we'll celebrate the holidays and we'll kick back, and then reconvene for January. So look, what I want to say is one of the things you can do, and that we pride ourselves on doing, is focusing on things that we know will work. I mean, why waste our time sending a postcard to Mitch McConnell? He's not going to read them. And so we identify action items that will have some significance. And all politics is local. I think it was Tip O'Neill that said that once. But local issues are important to us, and we want good representatives who will help us grapple with some of these really important local issues. There's local issues include education, healthcare, the town budget, and this real addiction that has plagued Mystic residents in particular. Of course, talking about the addiction to the Stonington Community Forum. But issues like this and others, I'm calling on our local politicians to help us out. Now, climate change in particular, too, you would think, right, this is a worldwide, global kind of an issue, but there's a lot that Stonington is looking at, and Groton is looking at, as the world is changing. And we actually have, we're not really a partisan group, but there are Republican candidates right now in our towns that are running for office this election cycle who do not believe in climate change. And that's not okay with me. And so that's one reason I'm here tonight. It's one reason I've invited the candidates, because I will not help put into office anybody who does not believe in climate change at this point. You haven't done your homework. You don't deserve to represent us. So I'm here tonight to give people who actually believe in science an opportunity to speak. And that's it. And I asked a while back Christine Connolly if she would kick off tonight's meeting. It was many moons ago, if you remember. So I'm going to invite Christine Connolly, and then if you would, Christine, after that, you can call up some candidates, groups at a time, however we want to do it. I don't know. I'm going to leave that up to you. And so come on up. This is Representative Christine Connolly from Groton.
Okay. All right, great. We do it together. Sorry, you're tall. So hey everyone, I'm here with my partners in crime, Joe and Kate. Joe from Groton and New London, and Kate from Stonington. We work together on a daily basis. I think we talk to each other more than we talk to our loved ones at home. True story?
Sure.
Yep, true story. I talked to Kate earlier today and Joe at like 4 o'clock, so we're really in touch. The good thing is that even though everyone could only vote for one of us, when you vote for your Democratic House members, you're voting for the team. So if something is going on in Stonington or North Stonington, Groton or Ledyard, Groton or New London, we know all about it with our good friend Anthony Nolan, who represents the other part of New London, so that we get 4 strong voices in the southeastern corner of Connecticut up for everyone in Hartford. Right now we are not in session, which means that we get to schedule our meetings on our schedules, which is kind of nice, right guys? It means that a lot of stuff is getting done by phone or locally, or we're even doing call-ins, which is something that the administration is doing right now, which I appreciate. Do you guys appreciate those?
Yeah.
So people might have known in like 2005 they invented conference call systems. So we started to use that this year. In the General Assembly, we're having weekly calls on the mosquito issues with Southeastern Connecticut on Thursday afternoons, which is not only saving money for folks driving up to the Capitol, it's also allowing us to hear from folks who might be, last Thursday they had someone calling in literally from the field, from the forest, calling in and telling us what was going on out there so that we could all hear different things. It's also saving time that folks don't have to, it's a good hour for us to go to Hartford. So if you can do it by conference call, or maybe by 2029 we'll have video calls, because technology is getting there in Hartford. But right now we are embracing the conference call systems. It was a transportation one, was there another one with? About the piers, we had conference calls about that. So we've been on the phone a lot. There are still meetings in Hartford, and we do our best to get there and to be there. Note, if there are meetings in Hartford, you guys can watch too on CTN. It's cga.ct.gov. You just click on the CTN, you can watch it just like we can. And we have meetings in Hartford and back home as well. We're all working on different laws. We start again session the first Wednesday of February. So come on up, Anthony. Our fourth part of the Southeastern Connecticut. We're all working on a bunch of different laws. I think the most interesting thing when you see a rep or a senator is asking, what are you working on? Because everyone is working on things that they are near and dear to their heart or that they were assigned. I'm working on trying to help EMTs get some coverage for PTSD, for things that they see on the field. On that right now, also working on some judiciary bills and working on a lot of stuff with the peer of New London, because I happen to sit on transportation committee, so that's keeping me busy. And we'll let everyone say a little bit about what they're working on. What stuff are you working on?
Sure. So for me, I'm on the appropriations committee and the education committee. And so appropriations, they didn't tell me, meets all year long, all the time. So,
Sorry,
yeah, but I love it. But we've had a lot of meetings recently. We're working on some healthcare stuff. And in education, I'm working on some of the K through 12 education stuff, also looking at some consolidation stuff with some of the colleges. We have a big meeting coming up about that. And of course, some of the local stuff. So we've all been working together, as Christine said, on all the local issues here. And I certainly think for the four of us, it's been much better for Southeastern Connecticut to have all four of us up there and united, fighting hard. So, yeah, Joe?
All right, so I'm actually on the energy committee too. So, and then we've been very busy that way. I know a lot of folks have been asking about, what's been happening at the pier. There have been a lot of mistakes that were done. And again, a lot of folks will assume that we're not doing anything because we're not screaming for people's head in the newspaper, and we're not trying to call out everybody that's ever been involved with anything to do with the pier. But what we have been doing is behind closed doors, talking to union members that are losing hours, trying to make sure that they have a soft landing spot where they can go get work today. Because the reality of that pier is it will be shut down for a couple of years. So we're trying to transition those workers over to having a job for the 2 years until the pier opens up again. And there were a lot of things that happened at that pier, but we can't overlook the potential of what that pier has. So we have been, to me, that's been a lot of my focus, and I know it's been Anthony's too. He works he's in New London, that's actually in his district. But for us, if you know the history of New London and how they've been treated with the piers and with the amount of money that they haven't gotten over the years, this has been a very touchy subject. But I do feel like we're working towards a good resolution on that. I will say that there's a bill that I'm not on the committee for public health, and I introduced it twice. This will be the third year I introduced it, and I was talking to my lawyer friend next to me. The lawyers don't love this bill because me actually having prescription drugs be rated. So if it's an opiate of any kind now or in the future, protecting future generations from now into eternity, that there would have to be a heroin level rating on the pill bottle itself. And we've been told that scientifically we can't figure it out. We figured out how to put a rating on people's pain, 1 to 10, which is so subjective, and doctors, that no one can put their finger on what someone's real pain is, but we can't put a level of pain on heroin, Oxycontin, Percocet. I think we can do it, and I think now that we've seen, if we've seen these, fentanyl, but if we've seen what's happened in the last few years, to see exactly how the pharmaceutical companies, even our own FDA has treated us, changing laws, making it easier, so we can get more, so doctors have to prescribe more. It's time that we don't play by the rules particularly, and just putting a label on it to me isn't really a big deal. And lastly, I want to say, anytime somebody mentions the day after Trump was elected, I had that. I am the ultimate optimist. I will tell you, no matter what, if it looks like it's going to rain, I said, well, maybe the sun will come out. Well, that's my personality. It's who I am, and I had that little deep down hope that Trump wouldn't be as terrible as I thought he possibly could. And was I wrong? But the optimism is gone. We have to do all the stuff in our power to do exactly what he said, and make sure that other people hold him accountable. If you watch this weekend, we had a United States Senator from Wisconsin say the FBI and the CIA are fake, and he doesn't believe them. And when you have Trump saying it, and everyone's saying that it's just Trump being Trump, it's beyond that now. We have a whole gang of people behind him that are saying the exact verbatim what he says. So when that guy goes to vote on, do we go to war? Do we leave troops somewhere? Do we send troops in? A senator told us that we can't believe the CIA or the FBI. We are in a different world, and that's why we're not sleeping at night, and that's why we're waiting to, and we have an election before that. I don't wanna skip over that, and I don't wanna take too much time, because we have a bunch of people here that are gonna say a lot of stuff, and this is my good friend Anthony here from New London.
What are you working on, Anthony?
Good evening, everyone. I am
Sorry.
on the appropriations, the real estate and insurance committee and aging. Though I am new this year, I'm actually working outside of my committees to try and do some things. But I am working on insurance, trying to remove the gender box from the insurance. I'm waiting for LOR to get back to me on some more information in regards to that.
Anthony, who do they charge more? insurance for?
Females.
Females.
I figured that if there is a lot of heartache for the pay gap between males and females, then there's probably the same for that when it comes to insurance. So I'm trying to work on that. Also trying to remove the credit report from the insurance applications, just because they run your credit and they decide sometimes over your credit what kind of rating that you'll get for insurance. So I'm trying to work on that. Along with Juneteenth, I'm trying to also make Juneteenth a holiday, not a paid holiday where it's going to create a fiscal note, but a holiday to recognize that special day of emancipation for people of color. And there was one more, and it slipped my mind. So,
Aging?
No. I'm going to think about it once I step back, I think. But I'm so glad to be part of the trio, being the fourth person, being here. They are so supportive. As Joe said, in regards to the Port Authority and the state pier, which are actually two different things. A lot of people get them confused and they make it all look like it's one thing. But they are two actual separate problems. And we're trying to work on them both separately, trying to make sure that New London makes out well with the state pier, and also trying to make sure that the Port Authority makes out well with their rebuilding and rebranding, so that people can see the transparency with them. So these three have been very, very helpful. I'm not on the committee. Christine is on the committee, and she is being a big voice for me, because during those committees, we're not allowed to talk, make responses, but she is being a force for us, and my other two colleagues are just so supportive when it comes to how New London has been left behind for the last couple of decades in regards to support from the state and from some economic development. So thank you for listening, and I'm going to step back so I don't take up too much more time.
So we're also, we have events too, we try our best to make them exciting. We're planning an event soon, the road show as we call it, because the four of us are going together for like conversation, come to us with questions. It's going to Stonington next.
It is, it's our turn.
We've been in Groton, we've been in New London, the road show is moving to Stonington at a place near you, please pay attention. You can sign up for all of our emails to learn about our events. Our websites are all our names, but the state of Connecticut website is cga.ct.gov. You can search, find my representative, search for our names, sign up for the emails, that way you won't miss events. They will be on our Facebook, so if you follow us on Facebook, state representative, and then our names, you'll get our events. We're talking about doing an opiate event where we don't have a date yet, but Attorney General Tong has volunteered to come out to Eastern Connecticut. So once we get a date that works with his schedule and our schedules, his schedule's a little more important than ours, we'll have that advertised so folks can come find out what he's doing in the federal lawsuits to try to recover some funds and help people of Connecticut and get an update from our Attorney General. So we'll have a bunch more things. Please try to pay attention. We have an opportunity to submit any law we wish to the appropriate committee starting in January. So if you have ideas, please email Paul, let us know. Some of the best law ideas we got last year came from constituents. So if something's on your mind, even thinking, I should tell some, please tell us. If you tell us now, we can start getting research, start getting things worked on so that they can become law by the end of session. Our session this year ends the first Wednesday of May at midnight. It literally like 12:05, we have to stop. Someone realizes the clock is running and they say you're done for the year, so anything that isn't passed out by the first Wednesday of May at midnight or 12:05 has to wait until after the next election, 2020. So we appreciate everyone's help. Tell us what you want. Tell us as bills are coming out, if you like them, if you don't like them, if you want change, so we can make bills that the people appreciate. And we'll be sticking around later, but let's bring it open up to candidates. So do we have anyone from North Stonington here?
I don't.
I saw faces from Stonington. Come on up, Stonington candidates.
Stonington.
Mike is yours, Stonington.
Sure, okay. So hi. So we have, from Stonington, we have Danielle Cheeseborough, who is running for first selectman. We have June Strunk, who's running with her for select woman. We have Bob Stachin, who is running for our Board of Finance. We have Deb Norman, who is running for our Board of Finance also. And we have Sandy Grimes, who is running for re-election as treasurer. So you guys come on up and figure out how you're going to
Work it out.
work it out.
All right.
Thank you guys so much. It's so nice to be here. Some familiar faces and some new ones. So I thought maybe I'll just start, and then hopefully June, Bob, and Deb, and Sandy can all say a few words. We'll try and keep it short. But really, I'm running for first selectman in Stonington. I'm just really excited to have the opportunity to do this. A big part of the reason I'm running is I just see a really exciting role. I think government can play a positive role in bringing people together who have different ideas, different backgrounds, but together, when we get together and work on a challenge or a practical problem, I think we can come up with some really innovative and exciting ideas. I'm currently on the Board of Finance with June. I filled out my term, which was 2 years. It was a wonderful experience. I'm also on our town's Economic Development Commission. And I just felt like it was time to turn my attention full-time to the town. I've been working for the United Nations for about 8 years. I moved home to Stonington about 4 years ago, and I've been working remotely. They were really supportive of this. As Jason mentioned, climate change was a big motivator for why I'm running. We're a coastal town. I don't know how we can't not focus on this. It's a huge priority. June and I have had a lot of conversations. It's a big thing we want to focus on, and not just mitigation, also adaptation, looking at kind of all sides of this issue and what can we do? How can we innovate? How can we maybe lead the state in some of this work? Brantford and some other towns have done some great things. I think it's time for our region to do a bit more. Obviously, coming from the Board of Finance background, I want to focus on fiscal responsibility, but also investing for the future. I don't think you can kind of neglect for now, and then it ends up catching up to you. And then also, responsible economic development. We do need to grow our brand list, but I think we can do it in ways that benefits hopefully most people in the town, and it also does it in a respectful way. So I'm really excited, and I'd like to have hopefully June and everyone else say a few words, but happy to talk more either tonight or connect over the next few weeks and hopefully months and years. So thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is June Strunk, and I'm the current chair of the Board of Finance in the town of Stonington, and I'm running for second selectman with Danielle. And I couldn't be more excited to be on the same ticket with her. We share the same enthusiasm, we share the same commitment, we share the same goals. Our experiences, she has a tremendous amount of experience working with the UN, fiscal responsibility. For me, with my experience on most of the boards that Stonington has to offer volunteers, from planning and zoning, the K-12 building committee, we just did ribbon cuttings for our 2 new elementary schools, and I just couldn't be more excited for the children who are in these schools now and for the future generations that will be taught in those schools. Are just beautiful. But we did that under budget and on time. So, and there's just news that I just have to share about Danielle and I, because together we'll have 10 years of experience on the Board of Finance in the town of Stonington. No other Board of Selectmen will have had that level of experience. It's a different level of decision-making being on the Board of Selectmen. It's an important level of decision-making. And tonight, I just at 5:34 got the news that Stonington's rating was raised to AAA. I'll take some credit for that. I mean, there was a lot involved in doing it, and it was something that we have really focused on in the last couple of years, but we're AAA. So with that kind of rating and the level of experience that we have, we intend to have our fiscal prudence and, our level of service has increased in town without having to raise taxes all that much. So this is something that we plan to do as Board of Selectmen, but the AAA rating I just couldn't be more proud of. So let me just go on to our Board of Finance candidates.
Welcome back, Bob.
Always good to be with originalistic folk. You guys know you're a great group of folks, and thanks, Jason. I want to talk about my race with Deb that we're doing, but before I do that, I want to really talk about how exciting this race is with Danielle in June. Stonington Democratic Party, we're a big tent party. Danielle is unaffiliated. And she stuck by her morals and said, you know what, I feel that I'm an unaffiliated person, and I'm gonna stick with that. And she presented to the Democratic Town Committee, and everyone said she's the one. And I think that's exciting in of itself, to kind of show that we're expanding, that we are open to people, we're open to new ideas, we're open to someone who's got the character to stand there and say, this is who I am. Take me as I am. And I really, not only the tremendous work that she's done with the UN, a Stonington High School graduate. I think she's a phenomenal candidate, and I think that, it's a great story. Not only that, and this is almost embarrassing, there's never been a female first selectman in Stonington. It's just, when I heard that, I was, and that's going to change in November, and it should change. And it's going to be in a town that doesn't have it. Tell your friends, though. She hasn't, she's been out there, but we need to get people motivated. That's what this is about. This is the hardcore. You guys are the worker bees. There's no doubt. But we got to get out there. And June as well. The two of them running together. June as chairman. She's chairman of the Board of Finance and increased our bond rating. So now Deb and I are going to go and try to refinance. If we get in, we're going to try to refinance to get cheaper money and make sure that all the work that they did, because they did a fantastic job. For us to increase that means we can get cheaper money and we can refinance some of our other debt. They've put us in an incredibly strong position as a Board of Finance to go in there and deal with things like the sewers, which we have to look at in Stonington. And we're gonna have to do some work on that, both short term and long term. Sidewalks going into Pawcatuck is something that's just a continual issue and we need to deal with it. And because of their work on the Board of Finance, their phenomenal work on the Board of Finance, I think Deb and I are going to be in a position to be able to go and tackle some of those issues that possibly have been ignored. So I'm excited for that. I don't know, do you have anything to say? Deb's fantastic. Deb's down at Green, has an antique store in Stonington, has been running it, small business owner. She understands what everybody's going, she understands that small business sort of mentality. She's bringing that to the Board of Finance. So I think we have, and then we got Sandy, and I'll let Sandy speak for himself, running for treasurer. And so why don't I let you pass it on.
Hi, my name is Sandy Grimes. Before I talk about me, I want to say I've been involved in a ton of elections. I've been a member of the Democratic Town Committee probably between 45 and 50 years. I don't want to give my age, but I've been through a ton of campaigns. Obviously, this is the first one where we have a young lady running for first selectman and another young lady running for a selectman, I don't know how we say it now, and we have a bunch of candidates. I know we're going to win. I'm asking for all your help to come out. All those of you that live in Stonington, please come out and vote. And if you have room on your lawns for signs, please put them up. And for those of you who live in Groton, hey, sneak in and vote for us anyway.
Old school.
I'm very old school when it comes to elections. I'm old school. I believe in knocking on every door in the town and asking for their votes. As far as me, I was born and bred in Stonington. I lived there all my life. I live 100 yards from the water too, so I'm a very We need to take care of our climate, big time. And I'm glad Rise Up Mystic does things like this. And we do have a candidate running. I won't say who, but I'll say it's running for first elected against Danielle that doesn't believe in climate change. And that's a biggie in our life, our community, and all over the world. It's a biggie. As far as I go, I spent 40 years in Groton teaching. Never got out of 6th grade. I spent 40 years in 6th grade. So I know basic stuff. So, other than that, I was on the Warden and Burgesses in the borough. I've been in every committee you can believe. I was on the Board of Finance. I did a 6-year term, and my wife told me my bags would be packed in on the lawn if I did another one. So June came on with us. We stuck together all the time in major things. And all I can say is we got a wonderful group. Please support us and vote for us in November. Thank you.
So where are my Groton candidates? For folks who don't know from Stonington, we have a lot of positions in Groton. We have a 9-member council. We have a Board of Ed. Saw Rita. She's here. We have a Board of Ed, and some of the Board of Ed seats are up this year. The rest will be up in 2 years. And then we have a 42-member RTM. So to the RTM members who stepped up, we appreciate it, and we're glad you're running. So we'll go Rita first. Usually council goes first. We'll do Rita first. Rita's running for Board of Ed.
Hi, Rita Boatman. I have been on the Groton Board of Education for 16 years. I was a teacher in New London for many years. So I've dedicated my life to education. We have 3 children that grew up in Groton, went to the Groton Public Schools. One of them actually had the pleasure of having Sandy Rhymes in 6th grade for math at Cutler Middle School, which was wonderful. I've decided to run again because we are going to be consolidating our 2 middle schools to 1. And I want to make sure that transition in September is going to go smoothly. I'm also very concerned about the fact that we do not have solar panels on our new building. They have a place for them, but right now there isn't the money for them. And next year we're going to break ground for 2 new elementary schools, and those schools need to be green schools. So that is also very important to me. I'm concerned about the redistricting that will take place when we close Podchester School and the Butler School. So I'd like to be here for the redistricting. I think it's really important to have somebody that has had a history with building schools in the past to be on the Board of Education. Anybody have any questions? There are, 5 seats open. And right now, there are 5 Democrats running, 3 can be elected, and the Republicans, because they are the minority, the 2 Republicans will automatically be part of it. We have a minority rule on the Groton Board of Education, which the town council does not have. But thank you again.
And Rita will be sticking around. Yes. So again, the council in Groton has 9 folks. 5 of our candidates had other commitments tonight, but you have great candidates to talk to. We have 2 members of the current council. We have Leanne Obrey and Rachel Franco. We have 2. And Portia was on last week. Portia Bordelon was appointed last week. And then we have Lon Melendez, who's not yet on council, but with some votes on November 5th can get there. Right now, the council in Groton is 9 Democrats, 0 Republicans, and with help, we can keep that number. So go ahead, guys. Pick your order, fight, whatever.
Whatever. Good evening. For those of you that don't know me, my name's Leanne Obrey, and I'm hoping to have a 2nd term on the council. We've started a lot of things over the last 2 years, and I want to see many of them go through. When I went on and ran, it was for growth in Groton. I want to change the image of Groton, and that's what I feel our council has really been working towards. we're very, very fortunate that we have a phenomenal planning department and we have a phenomenal economic development department also. They truly, truly think out of the box. And we are on the cusp of really having some exciting things begin in Groton. And a lot of it is because they think outside the box, and I think our council thinks outside the box. And I don't know where I think. I'm just all over the place. But it's very important to me. I'm not from Groton. I chose Groton. I was a Navy wife and moved a lot of different places. And yeah, I would have liked to stay in Hawaii, but Groton really did grow on me. My children made their homes here. I'm very, very fortunate. I have 5 children, I have 8 grandchildren, and my life is wonderful when it comes to family. But I wanted to give to Groton, and so I'm going to continue to try to do that if I'm reelected. Economic development is probably my biggest baby. I really, really care about that. But I've also been able to do a few other things. When I first went on the council, I got a call, and I found out that the retirees of Groton were not getting their reviews that they should be getting for their increases. And we were able to change that very quickly. And other things that people have come to me, I just can't tell you, this group is so good. You go in and you say, look, this is what somebody said to me. Can we put it on for the next meeting? And it's on for the next meeting. And we talk about it, we work it out, and we come up with an answer. We don't put anything off. And we try to be very transparent. The only time that we can't be is when we're discussing one of the upcoming projects, and because there's money being negotiated, you can't. But other than that, everything that we have done has been right in front of the camera. You can go on there and you can see us argue, you can see us laugh, but you can see us come together at the end. So I hope I'll have that opportunity to continue on. I want to see Groton continue to grow. I'm trying very hard to raise the image. I have an ongoing battle going with Zillow. I'm trying to get Zillow to understand Groton's a great place to live. Thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Juan Melendez. I'm running for town council, and I'm currently a town rep, but since, you know, there's so many of us, people don't really know them, so I'll just take this opportunity to introduce myself. My father was in the Navy, and so I briefly lived in the sub base in Georgia, and we briefly lived in Brooklyn. But other than that, I've spent my whole life in Groton, so it really is my home, and I love this town. So after I graduated from Fitch, I went to the University of Connecticut, and I started at Avery Point, and then I went to the main Stores campus where I studied mathematics. And when I got done there, I decided that I was going to get involved in town politics, so I applied to be on the WPCA, which is a board in our town. And after I did 2 years on there, I ran for the RTM and I got elected, and I'm just finishing up my first term. So I recently got my real estate license, so that has given me more knowledge about what people look for when they want to buy a home, and what they look for in a town and what they don't like to have in a town. So that has given me even more knowledge than, you know, what I gained on the WPCA and on the RTM. So I just really feel like I've got a lot to learn, and the current council has done such a great job, and I have so much to learn from them. You know, if there wasn't a retirement on the council, I wouldn't even be running, you know, because they do such a good job. But a spot opened up, they asked me to run, I said yes, and so I hope you can just come out and support us November 5th.
Hi, my name is Portia Bordelon, and I can't express to you what it means to be standing up here saying that I'm running for town council. I'm born and raised here in the town of Groton. I'm raising 2 children here. One's at Fitch and one's at Westside Middle School. Even before I could get involved in politics, I used to watch every town meeting. RTM, go to bed. I watched Christine Connolly go through the loops and be the moderator while Joe Dela Cruz was up on the town council. And many a nights I could remember spending and recording and fast forwarding, rewinding, and what they say, writing it down. So I just couldn't be more proud. I just want to thank Rise Up for having this event tonight. Obviously all of our state reps for being here and everyone that else is here. One of the reasons that it's so important for me to be here, and as well as you speak about climate change, I am a survivor of breast cancer. At the age of 39, I found out that I had breast cancer. I fought the fight. I finished all my treatments on September 10th of this year. When I was asked if I would run, I said, well, am I going to be able to knock enough doors? Am I going to have enough energy? Am I going to have the time? Will I feel well enough? I want to be able to pull my weight, since we all campaign together. And I just want to say, I'm out there, I'm knocking doors. I think I almost probably have the highest doors knocked, I will say that. And I'm keeping up, and one of the other counselors, who's much younger, Andre Baumgarter, who walked with me a few times, I met with him the following day, and he said, okay, let's go. He says, my feet are hurting. And I thought, all right, I'm doing okay. So that was encouragement. But I'm just happy to be here. I'm a firm believer in transparency and supporting every walk of life and every area of government in the town of Groton. Every district should be represented. Let it be big, small, highest paying, lowest paying. I also believe in a firm, rigorous education in our school system. I believe in accountability and transparency for that. It's not about the number that we allocate to the school. We can give them all the raises we want, but it's how they actually choose to use that money and move it within the system. While it's important for a counselor to have goals and ambitions for the town, it is not essential to have a rigor or a rigid agenda. I believe that because if you're truly representing the people and what they believe in the town, that agenda should sway based on the needs and the current issues that are involving our needs of our town that we live in. I believe in economic development. I believe in environmental importance to make sure things are running smoothly. I firmly believe that we need to look at sustainability and resilience and really start looking towards hiring environmental engineers on board, not just your traditional engineers, but bringing in people that actually are looking at the rise of the sea levels and everything that's going on. I also am a firm believer in healthcare. After battling myself, racking up over $21,000 in one fight with breast cancer, I believe that we have an accountability to make sure that everyone has the right to affordable health care and not have to fight literally for their life and in the meantime incur debt while doing so. I do believe that some of the state issues do trickle down to local. You have to be well-versed in knowledge, willing to speak up and be involved, and that's the person I am. I just finished up 2 years on the RTM. I had a perfect attendance rate through all of my treatments. I believe that if you're going to be a part, you need to be there. You can say that you're going to do it, but your record will show it. And that's something that I can stand behind. I don't know what else to say tonight. I could speak all night. I love to talk. One of the big things that people love about me is that I believe there's no issue that I'm not willing to tackle and bring forward. Some people think some issues are, well, why would you bring that up? You know what, I'm going to speak about it. I hope I can get your support November 5th. I think we have a strong council moving forward, and I think that we can do a lot for Groton. Not only is it a strong council, it's a diverse council, and that also means a lot to me. It's so important as a child growing up in Groton, never having but one minority teacher my whole career here. It's so important that the population that you're serving looks that you're looking up to, and that's the leader that I want to be that I never had. Thank you.
Yeah, it's hard to follow Portia. Thank you for having this and having us here. I really appreciate it. And I want to start off by saying that I believe in climate change. I want to tell you how I got here. About 3 years ago or so, Trump was elected, and I went to a Women's March meeting, and it was actually in Stonington. And I had gone to a few meetings, and after a while, somebody from North Stonington had come down to the meeting and said, if you really want to make a change and have an impact, then you should run for local office or get involved locally, join a board, join a committee, and do something and help your community. So that's what I did. I actually went to the DTC meeting, and I met so many wonderful people who donate so much of their own personal time. And I said, I want to get involved, or a committee. And within maybe 2 months, I was running for town council. And so here I am, after serving my first term. And I'm very proud of a lot of the things that we've achieved. And having an all-Democrat council, I think, has made some things much easier to get through. So a few things that we have gone through are we've created the Sustainability Task Force to also look at the climate change and how it's affecting Groton and our shoreline town. We have a conservation committee that had not been talked to in years, many years. Like, some of them had been on the committee and said they'd never seen a town councilor come to their meeting. And we employed them to come up with a plastic reduction ordinance, to come up with ideas and thoughts and research this. So that's what we're working on now. And we had actually a big meeting with the community input. And I think there's a lot of people following up on that. Financially, I think we're very responsible. We have doubled the fund balance. Our rainy day fund is probably the highest I think it's ever been in Groton. And we had no tax increase. We're selling our empty school properties that have been sitting around for over 12 years, abandoned and empty. And we are doing it responsibly. We're finding the right developer that will match what's good for Groton. We also took a project that was mirrored in red tape for over 30 years and took Thomas Road, and we widened it. We created our first bike path, and it's now safer for pedestrians to go down that road, which I'm very happy about. And also, just to close up, the Groton Democrat Town Committee would like anybody who wants to volunteer to come down on Saturdays, as they are open at 10 a.m., Sundays at 11 a.m., Wednesday and Thursday nights 6 to 8 for phone calling. And we are located over next to the old Quantic Bridge Firehouse, across from the Human Services. And
That's on Route 1.
on Route 1, I'm sorry. And thank you for all for coming out, and I hope I can be in your support this November. Thank you.
Another town official, Patrice Granatowski, has been on council for 2 years. She's currently the mayor of the town of Groton, so she'll say a couple words too.
Hello, I apologize for being late. I was at a really wonderful experience, Women in Defense. It's an organization mainly comprised of EB women, but other women from Soup Ship and NAPSI and even Pratt and Whitney. So it was a really nice experience, so I apologize for being late. But thank you for holding this forum this evening. This is wonderful. As Representative Conley said, I am in my first term on the town council. Prior to that, I served on the representative town meeting, which was the town's budgetary body. I chaired the finance committee there. I was the party floor leader there. I've been active in the community otherwise. I served on the Charter Revision Commission, and I wrote one of the minority reports, so don't hold that against me. I guess the premise is, why am I running? Why should you elect me? One of the things I'm most proud of that I've been able to do is to move us forward with sustainability and resilience. We created, at my urging, the Groton Resilience and Sustainability Task Force, and we are tapping into some of the community members who have amazing talents, and they are serving on this commission for us, this task force, and we're using them as kind of consultants for various projects that we're going to be doing. I'm also proud that we were able to get some more open space dedicated, and I look forward to pushing forward on that initiative. In conjunction with that, I favor smart growth rather than tearing up other properties that are pristine. Let's use the empty storefronts that we have. Let's use the old schools that we have and make use of them rather than going the other direction. The other thing that our council did, and at my urging, was to bring us into charter compliance as far as an ethics ordinance and an ethics commission. So we have the first ever ethics commission in the town, and we have our members seated, and I'm proud of that. We have not had to use them, and hopefully we will not have to use them. And that was one of the points in recruiting. You'll never have to do a thing as long as we're there, right? So we're working on that, as getting us moving forward on that front as well. I'm a teacher, so I'm a strong supporter of education. We're going to have new buildings, but it's more important what's going on in the classroom now that we have the new buildings. You have to support the teachers. You have to make sure all the kids, no matter whether you are being remediated or you are excelling and advancing, all the kids have to have opportunity to grow. So all kids can grow, all kids can learn. So that's important to me. But I thank you for your time. If you have any questions, you can find my email address on the town website, and I'm happy to correspond with you in that way. And I'll be around after the meeting for a while. Thank you for your time, and thank you for your energy in supporting progressive causes.
Rita reminded me, tomorrow night, get your calendars out, at the Fitch High School, there's a farm-to-table dinner event. It's $5, only $5, and it's from 5:30 to 7:30.
It's sponsored by the Groton Public Schools. It's our first of a series of 3, and it'll be all local farms that are.
Local farms, having some food, please support. In Groton, as folks have talked about, the RTM, or the Representative Town Meeting, again, it's a 42-member board. There's majority and minority representation, so we do have some members running. If we can just go through names, what district you're running, and that means where people vote. So, start down over here. Who's running for RTM? Go ahead.
I am Cindy Fortner. I am running for District 6 for RTM. That means for people who vote at SB Butler.
And my name is Albert, and I currently live near Washington Park, so anybody who votes at the Groton Municipal Building, the city of Groton. And I was, District 3, and I was actually Miss Granatowski's one of our first students.
And again, there's many more folks running for RTM, so please look them up, support our drawing folks. I didn't see any faces from New London that are on the ballot. Did I miss anyone? Or any faces from Ledyard? But we do have very great progressive folks in New London, Ledyard, who appreciate your support again, November 5th. Please remember to vote. Load up your car with friends, remind them to vote, because these municipal elections, sometimes it's won by under 10 people at certain seats. So let's get everyone we know out to vote November 5th. Normal polling place, 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. Vote just once, not early and often. You can vote early, but just once on November 5th. And then get 10 other people to vote, your friends.
Let me raise this up a little.
I might grow.
So, let's see. Does anyone know when the town of Stonington was founded? How long has it, we've never had a woman as first select person? Isn't Stonington, wasn't it founded in like 1312 or something? That's unbelievable. That is shameful. I think it's gotta change. So let's change that. Are there any other announcements? Did anybody have anything they wanted to announce? Yep, Peter.
My wife is recording this for Public Access Channel 12, and it'll also be on YouTube following that. So if anybody's not here that would like to see this, it will be run on Public Access.
And it may be your big break. Any others? Gene, did you?
Yeah, just so you know, the Stonington Democrats are marching in the Westerly Columbus Day Parade this Sunday. If you'd like to join us, please do. Please come out. Danielle, I hope you'll be there. Good. And the rest of most of the rest, I know Bob can't make it. He's visiting his son down in Philadelphia. But at any rate, please come and join us. It's at 12 noon. It's in Westerly. If you go up to the high school, it's at the corner of Narragansett and Top Street. And it's about a 4-hour parade. So wear your walking shoes. It's a great time. We've done it before. We have a big vote sign. We have candidate signs. And no kazoos this year. No kazoo band. So you don't have to worry about that. Try and join us Sunday at noon.
Sunday at noon.
I just wanted to mention, it hasn't gotten much publicity, but tomorrow night, the candidates for Groton will be at the Bridge Market from 4 to 6. It's a meet and greet. I was going to cancel it about 30 minutes ago, but then that one in the back gave me a look like, oh, you can't do that. So we'll be there, even if it's just ourselves. Tell people to stop over, have a piece of pizza with us, and tell us what they want to see Groton do. Thank you.
So again, before we break, we're gonna I just want to give some advice on actions, and then we'll also take one together if you're in for that, if you're up for that rather. Well, first thing you can do tonight before you leave. It's so much better if you do it before you leave. If you would like a yard sign or a lawn sign, you know, name recognition at the national level is one thing, but at the local level, it seems to me it's more important. So to put up a yard sign that says, you know, this person's got support already, and these are your neighbors that are going to be driving by, and if you're supporting publicly some of these folks, I think that says something, and that name will register when they go into. So if you can get a yard sign tonight, connect with somebody, and let's get those yard signs up. Two, the second action you can take, I consider this an action, is making sure you shake hands with one of the candidates that you saw here today, because when you make that connection, you can offer help, or you can just ask another question, but you start to create that that connection that we all need to have. So that I'll count that as an action tonight. Number three, you can turn out the vote. Remind your neighbors, you know how this works. If it's not a nationwide election, people don't go to the polls, which means that your vote counts. If you get somebody out to the polls, it's worth a whole lot more than if you do it in 2020 when you're going to be competing with millions. I think 16 people may turn out to vote in some of these towns in the next election, hopefully more, but my point is the value of the vote is more important. And so the value of turning out the vote is exponentially bigger. So get out the vote. And sign up for emails too. As Christine Conley said, you can, if you want to follow these folks online, you can do that and sign up for their emails. And the fifth one is, you know, it helps us because we're just getting started again. And you know, Rise Up Mystics, it's not just Mystic. In fact, we wrestled with that, the name of that. But we need to get progressive candidates in Stonington, Groton. We need a storm of progressive-minded people out there. I even drew a little map. You know, they need to go through Stonington, you know, north of Stonington and Groton, we need to get into those towns, all the way to New London. If I were to draw a little map here, I'd say, you know, we need to extend all the way to Alabama. A Sharpie there. A little joke for anybody watching out. So now what we're going to do is take an action together. So we hardly ever do. Thank you, sir. So we're gonna take out our phones. If you would be willing to do that, this exercise should take less than an hour. I'm going to, maybe 3 or 4 minutes if you're quick. Some people are quick. I'm not that quick, but I'm gonna go to my Google. I'm gonna just go to my Google search bar and I'm gonna type in Representative Joe Courtney, and then and then contact. So Representative Joe Courtney, contact, and then search. Once he gets up, there should be some choices. Contact Joe Courtney, there it is, house.gov. And then you hit, I'm gonna hit email, but it comes up email me, so that's where I am now. So again, Representative Joe Courtney, contact, and then hit the email link, and then we're gonna type in our names, your own names. For issue of concern, if you've gotten that far, some of you are way ahead of me, I can tell.
You don't have to use scroll down.
I'm gonna just do government oversight. And then subject, I'm going to type in support impeachment inquiry, right in the subject. And then again, my suggestion, this is just a suggestion, we are grassroots, we can do whatever we want or we can not do something, but I'm going to write very clearly and brief, I support the impeachment inquiry of President Trump.